starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back. Hey, what's up? Hey, welcome back to another night of Island Boys Football Talk. Today is Tuesday, which means it's our weekly recap of the week. Of course, we have everyone in the building. K Jizzle, Philadelphia, C Money, San Fran, and I'm Shridi representing the Carolina Panthers. So we're happy to be back. Um, got a lot to talk about today, which is San Fran's game against Detroit. Uh, Carolina's new head coach and Philly's new defensive and offensive coordinators. So quite a bit to talk about tonight. Of course, we're streaming live off of our YouTube and Facebook platform. And in about a minute or two, we'll be on our Twitter platform as well at Island Boys Football Talk. We can like and subscribe to our page. That'll be real appreciative of everyone that watches and follows the show. And if you want to show your support, you can always send us a cash app at money sign Island Boys Talk. Island Boys with a S. So like I said, we're happy to be back. Today is Tuesday, which means we just wrapped up the conference champions, the AFC and NFC conference champions, which is San Francisco 49ers in the NFC and Kansas City in the AFC. So we'll talk about the game first. San Fran's victory over Detroit. Hear what Shane has to say, and then we'll jump over to the other two teams with the off-season personnel addition. So, Shane, the, the victory was San Fran. How you feel about the game?
I can get an apology from you
For
for the only person here going for Detroit.
well, team only me went for Detroit.
In here.
Other people would be.
In here.
What apologizing for? Can I pick Detroit?
Yes.
What? Then apology.
You should have stick with what you know in here. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
If you see.
I say anyway. Done with you. We're going to the Super Bowl. San Fran is going to the Super Bowl again. The game, then it wasn't what we expected. I tell you to give him this damn speech. The first half, I think Ben Johnson had Wilkes on the ropes, had him confused, had him flustered. I don't know. We came out, as KG was saying, we were playing in this soft zone against the Detroit Lions in the explosive running game, and they were gashing us. It's the first time in Shanahan's tenure that a team rushed for 150 something yards in the first half football game. And San Fran found themselves down 24-7 very quick. And I think went into halftime at that score being 24-7 with the offense looking stagnant, the defense confused, don't know what to do, spinning around their tops. And the game at that point had looked like it was over. I got many texts and question marks. You Still watching the game. This ain't a game no more. My partner here with me, he had to leave, say, by this game over, I can't stay here and watch you take these licks. And then I don't know what was said at halftime. I've been searching over the internet and looking to see if anybody could relay what the halftime speech was or what was said. The only thing I got was that Shanahan told the team that we can't go out like this. I know it was more said than that, because nobody can come in and just tell me we ain't gonna like this. They're gonna come back out and perform how the finals perform the second half. Came back out in the second half. Wilkes made a major adjustment to the defense. I think he's when he started playing more man coverage against the Lions. Start getting some pressure on Goff, and Goff, as we know, under pressure becomes rattled. Start putting pressure on Goff, squeezing the pocket on him, making him move out his comfort zone, making him move out the pocket. Start making some ill-advised throws. The Lions, for what reason, I don't know, stop running the ball. It allowed San Francisco to score on 5 possessions, to score on every possession they had. They score points on 5 possessions, come back to win the game 24-31 against the Detroit Lions, who were leading by 17 points in the first half. Clear path to the Super Bowl. Looked like they had the Finals on the ropes and down and dirty, and then just came back out and laid a new thing. Great stand by the defense to hold the Lions. We all know Dan Campbell's forte, going for that 4th and short, and the defense was able to stand strong and stop those two drives that they were going to do and turn the game around. Then they caused a crucial fumble by Gibbs, which I think sucked the wind out of him, and I don't think I really saw him again for the rest of the game doing anything after he fumbled that ball. And kind of like was a big turnaround for that whole game, and just caused the team to just rally around that and just go out and dominate the Lions and send them home and send the 49ers into the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. So I don't have to say it was a great game. I think it was a great comeback. I think it was a great way to show the team can battle, come back from adversity, come back from being down 17 points. I think Porty led a good drive, using his legs, his arms, and his mind to drive the team back, and the defense stood strong. So a good team effort and a good way to come back. But, going on from here, though, I still, I think Steve Wilkes got to do a better job coming off in the beginning. This is the second time in a row now that it looked like the offense is just dialing them up. He made the adjustment, but the adjustment just, to me, taking long. We can't spot Patrick Mahomes 17 points and think we're going to come back. We can't spot Andy Reid 17 points. We can't spot Spagnuolo 17 points and think that we're going to come back on the Chiefs and win a Super Bowl. That ain't going to happen. We need to be either toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, or we need to just destroy them in the beginning and put a clamp down on Kelsey and make Mahomes beat us with his wide receivers that he have. But the Detroit Lions gave a good fight. I think Ben Johnson had a great game plan. I don't know what happened in the second half that caused them to go away from their game plan, what they had, because up 17 points and they just keep running the ball down the 49ers throat. But it is what it is. I'm glad they faltered. We're on to the Super Bowl, and that's all I can say about that. Heart attack week number 2.
Keith, you got anything on it?
It was a good game by by both teams. Ben Johnson came up with a good game plan all in the first half. Of course, he took Stevens to the woodshed. But I also think, what's his name, Aaron Glenn also took Kyle Shanahan to the woodshed too. Because the offense didn't perform in that first half neither. It was just Steve Wilkes. If at some point, if you know your defense ain't holding up at some point in the first half, at some point your offense got to make the adjustment too at the same time. Being that Kyle Shanahan is somewhat the one by offensive genius in the NFL, we would think that he would be able to make the adjustments on the fly on the offense. Your offense should be able to keep up two at the same time. Even just the defense, the offense should be able to put up not just 7 points. Your offense has a talent to be able to keep hold of other offenses in the NFL too at the same time. So the simple fact that the offense didn't perform in the first half was another issue. I think I don't understand why Kyle Shanahan sometimes don't attack down the field sometimes with the receivers that he has. Sometimes even it can just be Kittle and not Kittle, the Debo and Christian McCaffrey. Sometimes get Kittle going too at the same time in the first half. Also Ayuk. Get him in space. It can't always be the yes, there's the motion in, but what you working after the motion? Are you creating a motion to attack down the field deep? Are you creating a motion to attack on the outside? Like, what are you doing? So that's the issue there with Kyle Shanahan. You kind of see for 2 games now. You see it in the Packers game and you see it in this game too. So I mean, it's not just Steve Wilkes too in the first half. It's also Kyle Shanahan. I think in the second half.
Keep in mind
Huh?
that he only had the ball 3 times in the first half.
Yeah, but still, you got the weapons on offense to sustain drives. It's also being creative to an offense, which I think he can be, but I don't know. I think in the second half, what you saw is Stevens makes the proper adjustments to shut Detroit's offense down. Gotta give him big credit to that because the offense didn't score until late in the fourth quarter. What you saw it wasn't much adjustments made on offense. What you saw was Purdy taking advantage of Detroit defense playing more man coverage and playing deep zones. That's what I saw. I think probably Kyle Shanahan looking at the film realized, okay, we ain't getting guys open off of man coverage. I think you only saw you got open a couple times in man coverage, but you saw where the other receivers and other players wasn't getting open in man coverage. You saw being that when you play man coverage, you got you don't have a player you don't have a player spine and you don't have nobody to cover Purdy. I think that's why the middle of the field was so wide open. He was able to scramble so well, and that's a credit to him too. I think, but one of the biggest momentum changes in that game was that big catch that Ayuk made, the bounce out the safety's face mask.
Yeah.
That big catch was a momentum shift because if Detroit got an interception, I think that changes the momentum. The fact that Ayuk got that, and then after you were able to score a touchdown, I think that way the game changes and that way Detroit lost that game. Then we can say it's also Josh Reynolds dropping his catches too at the same time because those are big momentum shifts too. That gave your defense a stop. Also, Dan Campbell, you can easily say Dan Campbell not taking the 3 points. You can say Jameson Williams not catching the that touchdown on the flea flicker that dropped straight to your hands and things like that. So Detroit mostly lost that game, but gotta give credit to Brock Purdy for sticking in, not faltering, not failing. He stuck in, did what he had to do. But I think big credits to Steve Wilkes because if that defense did make the adjustments, even playing a five-man defensive line to stop that run, I think Detroit would have ran away with that game.
Yeah, I think football is a game of momentum.
Forget my vice.
I want to use the sick.
The shakedown by.
Football is a game of momentum, and Detroit had all the momentum in the first half. But I think halftime came at the worst possible time for them. That the momentum just cooled off because it allowed San Fran to make the necessary adjustments in. Momentum is a bad thing. I think Detroit can just live off of what could have been.
Could have been, yeah.
That's basically how Detroit sees it, what could have been, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of what could have. If Dan Campbell didn't elect to go for those 2 4 downs, I mean, Reynolds Reynolds should. I would have make Reynolds packy bags during the game. Just tell him just never come back Detroit, cause
Two wide open catches.
you can't get much easier than that. One is a
Mhm.
third down, crucial third down. The other one is a crucial fourth down. You keep the drive going, you never know. The two fourth downs that Dan Campbell went, you get 2 point, you get two field goals after that. You can change the way the game playing. Again, as like what KGC, that catch, that Ayuk thing, what could have? If the cornerback had catch there, but you could don't know. It changes the way the game is.
It was
If
PI.
Jameson, huh?
It would have been PI.
He turned. I wouldn't have called it. My thing was I wouldn't have called because he turned for the ball too.
Yeah, but he
Both
ran.
of them had.
He stopped at Ayuk momentum there and he tracked.
Cause he tried to catch it. I don't think they would have called it because
It was
they
way
would not call it because he turned.
They should have
He
flagged.
would not- Yeah, but you see,
Then
the
they should have
second
thrown a
up,
flag.
even-
They shouldn't
but
have
that's
thrown
the
a flag.
thing. You can't throw the flag for that though because
Yeah, not for
you
that.
gotta get the cornerback a
Two
chance
of
to
them
catch
kind
the
of
ball.
going for the ball too at the same time.
You think them didn't call PI because you catch the ball? No, because it wasn't BI. That's all. Even if Ayuk did not catch it, they would have. I don't think they would have said this pass interference because he actually went for the ball too. So you gotta give him a chance, but it's all
Yeah, see
momentum.
the contact well about in the air before it was even catchable yet. Because he stopped his momentum completely. Then they
But
went up.
he had, but you see, you gotta remember if he had ton, they ain't gonna call it because then he's trying to track the ball too. If he had in that ton, there's clear PI. But anytime he had ton, they're gonna see the cornerback just as much right to try to track it, and he almost get a pick, but the game of momentum is a thing. As I always say, Steve Wilkes and those guys know how to run defenses. Sometimes players need to step up. San Fran defense stepped up
Yep.
big time. I like what he did on one of the fourth downs. That one half ran man and one half run zone. Because the thing is, you see what not Dan Campbell, you see what Ben Johnson later called on fourth down, mesh plays. Mesh plays does beat man coverage because he running across the field. Somebody gonna put up on somebody. That one with when he tried to throw it, he actually thought that one half of the field. He actually thought the whole field was man coverage, and then he ended up throwing the ball bad for the fourth down because the other side run zone. So when he looked like he was open, he couldn't throw it in space because the zone corner was right there. So that was a good thing. But again, you get pressure. The pressure in the first half. They were running the ball efficiently. They just had the momentum in the first half. They were on some. It almost reminded me like how Green Bay played. Green Bay was like just on a high. And then when San Fran said, "All right, done enough of this shit. Now it changes." So credit to the San Francisco 49ers for that victory. I looked at the stats there. They are kind of close. They're basically even. I did both of them. Goff played a good game. Porter played a good game. I ain't gonna take nothing away from Goff. Again, like I say, it's basically what could have. If Reynolds had know the catch, you don't know what could have happened. Cause that's the only way you could kill a momentum. Like having long drives, but he shot in two drives. That third down, we had a punt. That was a bad one. And then that fourth down, that was a bad one too. You just kill the Lions from getting momentum. So credit to them. And another thing I didn't like with Detroit was ain't nowhere was running that ball 1 minute ago. You had to save your 3 timeouts. As you wasn't getting no ball and no answer. Don't tell me not about no answer. You had to throw that ball. You ain't running no ball and then had to use a timeout. You throw that ball and then hope that you could stop him on 3 choice. Basically, that's it.
Like it's like it'd have been more like I don't take nothing away from Dan Campbell. I don't blame him for what he do because that's what he been doing all season long. Now if he had just come in there in that game and then say he can decide to do that at that point, I'd say you're a cunt. But he been
which part? You talking about the run or the fourth down?
The two of those because the fourth downs we know that his forte is to go for it on fourth and short.
I don't take away fourth down because that's how they try to play all year.
Right, and then the runs when you watch the game, you listen to what the commentators and announcers were saying. Is like, you're down. Okay, remember they had like some big third downs. It was like third and 15, third and 12, and they say this is where Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson does. Everybody think they can pass the ball and they do a run. And the 2 times they had 2 third and long, they run the ball on us and get the ball and get it. So it's like
But
he
you
can run the
see,
ball, but I think he fished the well a little too much because the defense now say, okay, you can run.
the difference is though when you 3rd and 15, you got defense playing pure shell coverage.
Yeah.
But if I by the 2 yard line, of course I got goal front. I got heavies there so that you don't run. Ain't nowhere I was running that ball. Like you can't run a ball there, and it's either say that you can't do it, you can't risk using a timeout. That's let me just say it like that. And not
Exactly.
you can't anything not but a run. You
Can't
can't risk
risk it.
using a time. Your only hope in that game is 3 timeouts. How often people just get onside kicks? Really? So you cannot use a timeout. Unless the only thing I was saying that if you run that ball, you need to hurry up and go straight into the thing. 'Cause from time you call it, if I was Dan Quinn and I run the ball and I didn't get it, I would walk down the field and shake Shanahan hand because the game done. Like how Bulls had do with thing. Because you can't do that. You lose yourself from getting any type of chance to win the game. I mean, it came down to that, but I still give credit to both teams. All teams, to me, it was a fun game to watch. Like I see, Porter had to use his legs when he had to. He used it. Everybody was involved. All two teams, and to me, I always think it would have been an offensive game, and the key would have come to which defensive coordinator make the right adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And San Fran only gave up 7 points in basically in the last minutes of the fourth quarter. So they shut those guys down for the whole second half. And you got to score in the second half. Too much times we see teams get big leads in the first half and can't do and just
Not in the
choke in the
second
second
half.
half. Yeah, you got to score in the second half. You can't go there and play prevent from all in the third quarter. You ain't that ain't no recipe for success. You can lose. So I like what Dan Campbell said. This probably was our only chance because you know how hard it is. Unless your name is Andy Reid and Mahomes, you know how hard it is to go to the Super Bowl twice. So we'll see what they do. Good news is it looks like Ben Johnson spawned everybody again, so he'll be back in Detroit next year, and we'll see what happens. But next week's show we'll definitely do our preview of San Fran and Kansas City. But congrats to San Fran on winning NFC Championship game and on to the Super Bowl. That brings us over to the AFC. What you guys thought about that game? We'll be short on that one. That's not our teams.
So I get,
Okay.
let me go on that one. I was kind of disappointed in that game a little bit because I didn't understand what Baltimore offense was calling or what was doing. No, nothing to take away from how Spag had them, but I still think that you have Lamar Jackson or Lamar Jackson know himself. I feel, this is my personal opinion, I still feel like Lamar out there trying to prove himself as a passer. What I was seeing. You know what I'm saying? He in the pocket. 7 seconds you hold on to a ball, and you got a God-given talent to outrun the whole goddamn defense. You know, when you learning from a coach is 1, 2, 3, ball gotta go. If the ball ain't going, you gotta go. Especially if you're a running quarterback. 1, 2, 3, nobody open, you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even that, you go. But he was holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dance left, dance right, go back. He had one play where he tracked back all the way to the damn end zone. And they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Kansas City ain't score a point in the second half. And the Baltimore Ravens couldn't do nothing to at least make the game look like it's catchable. You know, besides the two crucial errors by Zay Flowers, but you still didn't do anything else after that. And Lamar just went straight past mode. It was like, you forget that you could run? And I didn't understand that. And then we could see that Spags was sending blitz after blitz after blitz after blitz after blitz. And the offensive coordinator would not dump a screen in there, run an RPO, give the man a hot route. All routes was going mid and deep. And I just don't know. To me, I think the Ravens choke. Offensive,
It's a display of two great defenses, you could say, and two great defensive coordinators in Spags and the other one out there in Detroit. Um, well, we already knew that Spags was gonna come up with something different. We all know he was gonna
yeah.
confuse Lamar a little bit. But for Todd Monken not just make the adjustments when it comes to the blitz, but not establishing the running game when you're one of the best running teams in the NFL was kind of where the far shot too as well. I think Lamar kind of far shot, but his accuracy too, and his deep ball throws down the field too as well. He had a couple chances to get Odell on the field. In stride two at times. He overthrew him. I think he overthrew Zay Flowers a little bit. I think even that deep through the Zay Flowers, that ball was kind of underthrown too because if he throw that ball and get Zay Flowers in stride, Zay Flowers is actually scoring. So I think Lamar was off in that game too. I think Lamar was kind of overthinking it too as well. It wasn't just Todd Monken. I think he kind of had a bad game too, as well. You got to give credit to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes as well. They just find ways to come up with a great game plan to go against your defense, regardless of who you are or whatever your scheme is or who the players are. Patrick Mahomes and his off schedule plays is uncanny at times. It's hard to stop. Kind of see why he's one of the great. He's probably going to go down as, if not the greatest, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in this game. Also, Travis Kelce too. He just finds ways to get open in the zone with their man coverage and things like that. Gotta give credit to him too for passing Jerry Rice's record too. So I mean, that team had to stop. You can't beat Patrick Mahomes, regardless. I don't know. It looks like only Joe Burrow and Tom Brady is the only one who could beat Patrick Mahomes in my leagues, pretty much.
We got final in 2 weeks.
You got a chance.
We got final 2 weeks. I think if you watch the film, but
the thing is that team ain't playing. Patrick Mahomes ain't playing like a He's more playing like a game manager now because that defense is so good. He ain't giving you a whole lot. And he trying to take away a whole lot. He's just working exactly what the defense is giving him. And then after that, he has an unscheduled plays where he's out of the pocket and things like that. But that defense right now is playing so good. I think a lot of us didn't expect the Chiefs defense to be this good.
Not with the names that they have on that defense, right?
Yeah, regardless, but Spags. How Spags has that defensive play now. Spags has that defensive scheme. That defense is playing lights out. I think a lot of the credit not only goes to Patrick Mahomes, but a lot of credit goes to Spags too. And even for a lot of these analysts on TV and stuff like that. So what happened to giving these defensive coordinators some of the credit too as well? He has Patrick Mahomes, but the defense as well is locking things down. You hold a Baltimore Ravens team to damn well 10 points. Well, now we score 28 points a game.
Explosive Baltimore team. And again, it's like it's a trend going on in these playoffs that the teams stop running the damn ball. The teams that's supposed to run the ball stop running the ball. The game wasn't like a blowout game that you couldn't stick to run the ball, open up the run game, and then open up the pass game. Make the defense commit on it, but you get in a position where Spags will just blitzing straight.
Right.
You don't put no fear in him to change up. You made him do nothing to change his game plan. You didn't, and I think, like you said, on Todd, that was just he get overwhelmed. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think Isaac Pacheco had 28 rushing attempts. Ravens running backs had, Pacheco had 24 rushing attempts. Baltimore's running backs had 8.
Right, that's exactly it.
And Lamar had 8, but that's not design runs, those scrambles and those stuff. So
I think he had one design run. I think I see that he did. But you can't. I don't know. You can't.
See, the other thing is too, Zay Flowers was the only person that kind of showed up for the receivers. But thing miss chose too. Lamar.
What?
It don't. He ain't the same player he is when he plays in the playoffs compared to thing. You can always tell it's a little different. Whereas it's not much better for the Chiefs. The Chiefs got two reliable receivers, Royce and Kelsey. Kelsey had 11 targets, 11 catches. Royce had 9 targets, 8 catches. Valdez Scantling only had 2 catches. Watson has 2 catches. Um, Pacheco had 4 catches.
Like I
The
said,
good
the
the
game.
good thing about it the good thing about it is you see that Chiefs team help out each other. So when offense struggling, defense comes through. Defense struggling, offense know how to score. Even though it hasn't been pretty all the time. That's how the Chiefs gotta win. The Chiefs can't be the flashy offensive team them used to be. They gotta be the hard nosed team that trusts on the defense.
Yep.
That's why I like what Justin Reed Shot said after the game in Spags we trust. They don't have the star power on defense. Chris Jones is a wrecking ball. They just lost Charles Omena, who saw a torn ACL, and he was given pressure. But Josh Kalaktos, I think he's a second year player. He's playing well. Justin Reed in the back, the Jarius Sneed. They got McDuffie. He's an All Pro
Wilton
this year.
and
So
Clay as linebackers.
it's not the names that you would expect, but they play so well together. Such good complementary football that it works, and they can put pressure on. Chris Jones is a beast on his own. They put pressure on the quarterback. They tackle well. They don't, you hardly see them out of position. They coach well. And I think Andy Reid kind of figured out to an offensive side that, yeah, we don't have the playmakers we used to have, but we can still win. Run the ball. Let Pacheco do what you got to do. Run hard nose ball and let Mahomes make the Mahomes plays when he need to. So
And that
it's
that
good.
Pacheco is a bull.
I,
Exactly.
I fully expect them to come at us hard in the run game. I would if I was a coach.
So we'll see on next week's show when we do the Chiefs versus Niners preview. We'll talk about that next week, Tuesday, on that show. Now, basically, we'll switch it over now to the off-season teams. This past week, we talked about what we're expecting from the Panthers and what we're expecting from the Eagles. Well, both teams made their moves. News was both teams had their headlines. The Eagles filled out with their coordinators, which you'll hear from KG, what he thinks about it. And also, the Panthers have a brand new head coach, which we'll talk about as well. Jizzle, throw it good. You want to go first or you want to go after?
Now you go first.
All right, so the Eagles hired Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator, coming over from Miami, older, more experienced defensive coordinator. And then they went the young route on the offense, which is Kellen Moore, former offensive coordinator from the Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry. So I don't know how KG feels, but we'll hear what he has to say now on these two things because I got a perspective from it too, which KG made. I know I think he can go on the offensive side, but I'll jump in before he tries there because I know he can go on the offensive side. Let me just start one thing, Jizzle. I know you can go on the offensive side, which is you want continuity and cohesion, as in him being the offensive coordinator for a long time. And you feel because he's young, he can get snatched. But the reason I can not agree with you there is two reasons. One, he get no interviews this year. And two, Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick staying with them team. They are the hot commodities next year.
That's why he ain't gonna go nowhere next year.
That's guaranteed. That's more
That's a
than likely
guarantee.
the guarantee that Kellen Moore, if he does good, he will be back next year.
I
I can
realize that.
guarantee that. The way Bobby Slowick was in demand and choose to go back, and the way Ben. But I'll say one thing: you can also figure yourself like that because remember somebody did offer Byron Leftwich a job, head coach job. He turned it down to go back to the Buccaneers.
You never get a
And
chance.
what
again.
happened? The Buccaneers had sucked them, fire he, and that's the last you hear of him.
Yep.
I think Ben Johnson reputation still a little bit more better, but I think people starting to get a little too fed up with Heat now. This is 2 years in a row. He had people on the case all the time, and then while Washington was in the air coming to meet him, that's when he canceled. So they got word in the air, and they waited. They tried that he pulled himself out of consideration. Bobby Slowick one was a little different there. He did do the interviews. No one didn't offer him the job yet, but he just decided I'll stay in Houston. But Ben Johnson won't become a bad habit because it ain't this, as somebody say, it ain't so much like the Josh McDaniel thing when he had accept and then renege. But you got people into your second interview, you got people coming to see you, and then all of a sudden you kind of think. So
Again, yeah.
the good thing for me is I had that. Well, I'll get to it when I talk about the Panthers. Nobody vote for Bobby Slowick more. I'm not Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson more than me. But I'm glad that me wait on him because then they would have screwed themselves. No, I think Washington and them.
In trouble.
I don't even know who Seattle Plan B is. To be honest, I don't know. I honestly don't know who Seattle Plan B is.
I don't even
And
know.
then I think Washington Plan B is defense. All the other people they think is defensive hires. I think one of those teams will hire Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator. I just don't know where Seattle gonna go. No, I think Seattle was very high on Ben Johnson as to Washington, but we'll see what happens. But for you, Jizzle, I think that may be a saving grace that Ben
That's a
Johnson
saving grace. That's a saving grace.
back. But I'll let you have the mic and I'll jump in every now and then. What are your thoughts on your two coordinator hires?
Well, for the Vic Fangio hire, I like the fact that he's a veteran DC family head coach.
So wait, what's your grade on it? On the Vangio one?
I'm gonna give it an A.
I thought you were vexed.
But you-
No, listen. I like the hire. But what I
Okay,
don't
go
like
ahead.
is his scheme, his defensive scheme. I don't like that soft zone, bend but don't break type of defensive scheme that he calls. That's the winning NFL. We saw two of the best defense, how they brought pressure and was aggressive for about, you could say, 4 quarters between the Baltimore Ravens and the Chiefs. Aggressive defense wins in this league. Soft zone and passing defense doesn't win in this league. So, I mean, I ain't got a choice but to deal with it, but I don't like the defense. Hopefully, he could come in and coach up the defense. We also hired what's his name, McDuffie. What his name is? Hold on. From Seattle, the defensive line.
The big guy, the big diesel.
Clint Hot.
Big diesel.
We had Clint Hot, the big defensive lineman coach from Seattle. We also had his assistant, Carl Scott, who's also a defensive backs coach. So as you can see now, the Eagles are now hiring veteran defensive coaches to coach up these players. Because last year you saw we lack leadership on the defensive side. We lack coaching on the defensive side. We lack the intangibles and the fundamentality of getting our players to whether to tackle, to even play within the scheme, and playing angles too as well. So now you have veteran coaches now who would actually coach up these players to put them in position to be successful. So far the hire is good. So far on defense are good. But we'll see how that translates into the season later on. As for offense, I like that you brought in Kellen Moore. The only reason why I didn't want to kill him Moore because I wanted a older veteran OC so that we could have some sustainability at an offensive coordinator position. But like Shudi said, now that Ben Johnson is going back to Detroit and Slowick is going back to Houston, most likely they're going to be hot names again next year. Most likely Kellen Moore won't be a hot name unless the offense is like scorching hot next year and number one. But still waiting for who's going to be the quarterbacks coach. Hopefully we can bring in somebody who is in tune with the position of quarterbacks. Or whether even a veteran, somebody who coached up Jalen Hurts at times. Because last year we said that he struggled at times in his mechanics reading the field and things like that. But as for Kellen Moore was in charge. I think he had a top 10 offense in Los Angeles. He was able to get Keelan Allen and those guys in space, creating opportunities for them. Justin Hobart didn't have. He was injured a little bit, so but also Keelan Allen too. So you can see that he struggled a little bit against Kellen Moore. I think with Kellen Moore, he had 3,000 yards, 20-something touchdowns, and 7 interceptions.
I think he had good offenses over there.
Right.
I think the defense was not as good over there in the
Right.
Chargers. But
When
there was some bad toys. Remember at one point,
they had injuries.
yeah, you had Donald Parham and them fellow Joshua Palmer and them as
Mhm.
number ones in Soka. Keenan
Right.
Allen was banged up. They lost Mike Williams. I don't think the Quinton Jefferson thing was that good. The pick, the Quinton Jefferson
Right.
first round pick. Well, it's only 1 year, but he was a major disappointment. And the line wasn't good either.
Well,
Because
exactly.
Eckler had a horrendous year this year in terms of rushing the ball. So it's not all on him. At the year before, he was very good in Dallas.
Well, exactly. He had a top 6 offense in Dallas.
I think
That
he'll
kind of
utilize.
thing
I
too.
think he'll utilize the skill players there. Philly has a
Devontae,
lot.
AJ Brown, Dallas Goddard. I think he has a plethora of weapons to work with. Same as for the offensive line. The offensive line is going to be good too as well. And I don't know who the running back is. I would like for us to bring Swift back, but whoever
At
the
least
running
we
back
know.
is,
At least we know he gonna call quarterback runs, power down the thing like as if just.
he ain't gonna call a fucking wide receiver screen every freaking minute, and at least he'll have an answer for the damn blitz. He will have an answer for the friggin' blitz.
I see Justin Howard get sacked up there on some blitzes there, nearly tear your finger there. I ain't too sure.
That's different, but he may have an answer for the blitz. He gonna hear me come back on the show cussing again. But I think he will have an answer for the blitz. He ain't gonna just have a
But you know what?
friggin' overload
You know
blitz.
what? You know what beats the blitz, right?
What's
A wide receiver screen.
Not
Yeah.
a wide, no, don't give me no wide receiver screen. Reason being is because if you don't have a good blocker at the wide receiver position, it ain't gonna work.
Well, the problem with IU was where the hell are you got Devontae
Right.
Smith trying to block?
Ask Nick Simeon that for me, please, and Brian Johnson that for me, please.
Why is Devontae Smith the lead blocker and a wide
A
receiver
wide
screen?
receiver screen. That's another
Your
thing.
wide receiver screens can work. You got a round
Should have
blocker.
been AJ Brown.
He should
Should
be
be AJ Brown and Dallas Goddard.
Exactly.
The lead
Wide,
blockers in a screen.
wide receiver screens work good, but you got to
We don't
know
even
the
use
personnel.
proper running back screens or even tight end screens.
Yeah, you guys got to know
We
who
don't
the
even use
personnel is.
misdirection on screens. Like I said before, that's why I'm kind of happy that we bring Kellen Moore because he'd be a little bit more creative than Nick Sirianni was. Nick Sirianni ain't got no creativity to he damn bone anybody. Now, one creativity bone Nick Sirianni got anybody.
You
None.
guys brought in any more offensive assistants or
Not
just,
yet. Not yet.
just
Just
so it
Kellen
was
Moore.
only Kellen Moore's
Right.
offensive assistant so far?
So far,
I
yeah.
mean, I thought I saw something about maybe I'm wrong, but it, anything could be better than that Troster's offense the way it went downhill last year. I think having Kellen Moore, a bright young mind, see, you kind of got to give him he leeway. Give him leeway.
But that's what he said. He said he's not gonna intervene with the offensive coordinator this year. The offense will belong to the offensive coordinator.
Remember, the pressure is on him to win. As Harry Roseman said, I can't fire someone that has a 20-something record and just been to the Super Bowl. It's not validated to fire somebody.
With a
Which means-
with a meme machine, a bullshit.
That's why your GMC.
A bullshit.
So you think your GM talking bullshit?
Yeah. Because for the simple fact that he couldn't answer why your coach had no adjustments for a team that was struggling down the stretch. He had no answer for that.
He went
Well,
1-6 in the last 7 games.
Right, 1-6. He had no adjustment for a struggling offense.
I've seen coaches get fired, winning coaches get fired for less than that.
But I also heard that If Nick Sirianni was fired, Bill Belichick was in the runnings.
You need that.
Yeah.
I didn't want no Bill Belichick neither.
You know why Bill Belichick would have taken that job? 'Cause it would have getting close to the wins
Yeah.
record. That team would have been able to win stuff. But anybody that want, you know who the perfect team would have been for Bill Belichick? Go on Dallas for just this next year. Cut them and see if we could figure him out in the playoffs. Cause he need Bill Belichick he ain't lasting more than 2 years in our system. It's hard to say. He too old. And I think that if you read all the stuff that you see with Atlanta, the issue was that they were gonna have too much changeover in the front office for just a 2 year period.
Right.
They wasn't planning to give Belichick more than that. So, I mean, Philly could have done it too with your team ready to win. But I think Kellen Moore's a good. I like Kellen Moore, not as a head coach. When we interviewed him last year and them say he was a finalist, I hold my head.
No,
I think he's a good. I think he's a good coordinator. He young. He need tortoise. He not long ago play quarterback. So I think gotta make sure he and Jalen Hurts blend.
I think he will because Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, same type of bill.
No, sir.
Bill. I ain't talking about nothing else. Nothing
What Bill?
Same type of quarterback bill.
Not
Jalen
necessarily.
Hurts he ain't got an arm like Herbert.
I think it's the
I
same
think
kind of.
Herbert Tyler too.
Oh, large.
Herbert Tyler, Herbert can't move like Jalen.
I
Good
think
thing,
it was a good. I think it was a good hire too. I think it's a good hire to bring in a young, creative mind into it too. And he got experience with the talent, like you guys were saying, with being surrounded with talent in Los Angeles. So I think you should see those plays that you've been screaming and yelling about, and you ain't gonna see the wide receiver screen back to back to back. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good hire. I think your offensive coordinator is a good hire. I ain't too sold on a defensive coordinator, other than he can bring some experience, but I ain't know.
I don't know how KG like the hire but don't like the scheme, which means he ain't gonna change his scheme.
He can change his scheme.
So how you like the hire if you don't like the scheme?
He's a veteran.
Yeah, but I mean,
But my thing is, who defense better, Miami or Philly?
Philly.
Miami.
I think Miami defense
They
better.
got better
Miami
defense.
don't. Philly don't have the cornerbacks like
Yeah,
Miami.
they
They
don't
don't
have
have
the
the linebackers like
Yeah.
Miami. And the front, they ain't better than Philly, but them good. What he name? Wilkins. Wilkins is a beast, and them got them fellas coming out of Ed Bradley, chopping them fellas, and he still couldn't do it. If he can't do it with Ramsey and Byron Jones and
That's
them,
why he's saying.
He had
he can't do it with Bradbury and them.
he had a good track record since he did the Niners.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
He has to have talent on defense.
and if he couldn't do it with
He had
again,
it ready.
you had Christian Wilkins, you had
You had
Jerome
what
Baker.
What is the call in Miami? Two cornerbacks out there locked them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. You had Christian Wilkins, you had Bradley Chubb, you had Jason Phillips, you had Jerome Baker, you had Ramsey, you had Byron Jones, you had Xavier Howard. If you can't do it with that type of players there, I don't know how much better you can get a defense like that. You don't hear KG does cost he linebackers. He got no linebackers. One.
None.
This is another extra year now for Cox and them fellas that get a year older, which means the young guys gotta step up. The cornerbacks, I don't know because Bradbury Dunghouse, Slay's another year older. You gotta get you getting old. The young fellas, Ricks and Ringo and them fellas gonna have to step up. How Fangio gonna do with them?
Fangio love he linebackers, eh? He's a 3-4 guy.
My only thing is that means you expect a lot change over on the Eagles defense.
And that's why.
Go ahead, Jill.
And that's why you say yes, the hire is good, but the fact of the scheme and it doesn't fit your defense, you should have never hired Fangio.
I know that they interviewed Ron Rivera.
That's who I wanted.
I thought that he would have probably the way he played
him.
his defense would have been a lot better adapting to the Eagles personnel, but I
Yep.
mean having Vic Fangio, I think they're going with experience like KGC. He's a very experienced guy in this thing. He's had good defenses. Do I like it? Yeah. Do I love it? I'm skeptical.
Right, exactly.
I actually real skeptical about that because I just don't know with the Eagles roster and defense how he can get it work. I mean that's what you got our season for. So we will have to see. But as KG said, you give it an A. How much you get the offensive coordinator on?
I give that A2 as well.
An A. So I mean you got it. It's KG team. He the one on it 24/7. So I gotta take your word for it.
Come training camp, come September, it might be a different story.
Well, go through the off season first. See what acquisitions you make. See who you lose, and then see what Fangio working with. I mean, your offense still good. Your line strong, and so defensive line good. Gotta get some back end players.
Yeah, replace Kelsey.
He gotta do that. Yeah, Kelsey.
Jorgen's gonna step in for Kelsey.
So Jorgens is your center,
Mhm.
and then I think
Probably
your
Tyler Stevens gonna step in at right guard,
your most pressing need is linebacker and
linebacker and safeties,
secondary.
and secondaries too. Yeah.
So we gotta look at that.
Because I don't understand how Harry was being say that no Kobe Dean is a promising player when he can't stay healthy and he's sucking coverage. He too small.
I ain't getting involved.
He can't come off the blocks against a lineman because he's what 210, 214. So he can't beat the blocks.
I remember somebody saying steal of the draft.
And he can't and all he tackles is getting down the field.
I remember somebody saying steal of the draft.
That's what we thought.
I remember I get blatantly cussed out here. Steal of the draft.
That's what we thought.
The Kobe Dean, everybody overlook him. They couldn't understand why he dropped, but we just pick him up. We're gonna turn him into a superstar, and all of this, and then all of a sudden he can't cover. He's too small.
Can't do nothing.
So you understand why he dropped so low then?
I see where he dropped solo.
Okay, at least you could say that part.
I see where he dropped solo.
They did say the concern was his size.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't that type of strong linebacker that could, like you say, withstand blocks, especially in the run game. Can he get off of blocks? I don't know.
But even in the passing game, you're smaller. You should be able to cover.
He should be able to cover, yeah.
Can't cover. You had Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas had he like a top.
Do you think Fangio could get the best out of him?
No, I know. You can't get best of somebody who can't play.
I know he said he can't play.
I know.
How he went from the steal of the draft to can't play?
You can't get the best of somebody who can't play.
How he went from steal of the draft to can't play?
He might turn it around, man. He might turn it around.
No. He turned that wrong.
How he went from steal of the draft to can't play?
You were doing something right in Alabama.
No, he in Georgia.
Georgia. Because Georgia was playing that 5-down line one. He was a linebacker. He was cleaning up everything. That's what they look so good. Notice the NFL is different.
Plus the whole of the Georgia defense in the NFL. So you had NFL players playing against college players.
So that's the difference right there.
I think Fangio gonna bring on the best team.
He too small. So even if you have to play a 5-down lineman if you want to keep Nakobe Dean. That can't always work. Because they're gonna kill your passing game and playing 5-down lineman. You got even if you're playing 5-down lineman, you also gotta have a linebacker who can cover too, you know.
Well,
you just can't play 5-down lineman and play zone.
You think you address linebacker on the draft?
We have to. They can't. If they go ahead this year and devalue the linebacker position again, the defense gonna start again next year. That's a fact. Because who you gonna pick up? You can't pick up.
I don't know why you guys leak Kazir White.
You can't keep picking up. You can't keep picking up these special teams linebackers and rejects.
Kazir White had over 145 tackles in the year before he come by IU.
Then at least keep one of them linebackers, whether it was TJ Edwards, Even
Well, you didn't want to pay TJ Edwards all that money. Fair enough. But Kazir White,
he gave $6 million a year. You gave your whole linebacker team $6 million. You could give it to one person
they ain't gonna do it though. That's the thing
because it's stupid.
the money they when they signed
guess what?
Bradbury and Slay and all of them fellas.
TJ Edwards had more tackles than your whole fucking one linebacker position. They got to stop devaluing that position. Linebackers and safeties, they got to stop. The defense gonna suck again next year. I don't care who you bring in. The defense gonna suck again next year.
You think? So that mean how you giving it an A plus then? A grade if the defense suck next year?
You can't work with suckish linebackers and suckish personnel.
But KG, you ain't mentioned the half season yet.
If they don't address it, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, but you done gone there and say that the defense gonna suck next. You ain't mentioned the half season.
No, the defense gonna suck if they don't address it.
You don't know. Okay, I hear what. Okay. Now you change your word. You say they gonna suck if they don't change it. But you don't say the defense gonna suck next year.
I don't got a feeling they're gonna suck.
You hear this now?
I have a feeling they're gonna suck.
So how is it an A grade?
The hiring is an A grade.
But when you hire somebody, you ain't gonna give him the personnel he need.
Harry Roseman.
Well, something got to be wrong if I hire Van Gio, know how Van Gio tendencies is, and you don't play you don't sign to his strengths.
Your first pick in the draft should be a linebacker.
That's like a finding Wilson hiring somebody who running a nickel.
I don't understand because
you already hire a coach who runs a different scheme to what your talent is.
Yeah, but he ain't changed. He come in with a different scheme, but he ain't changed it all up. He just perfect some of the.
Nah, he gonna change. He gonna change. If he's a 3-4 defense, we want to change to 4-3.
I don't think he gonna change to 4-3. I think he gonna 3-4.
The Eagles is a 4-3 defense.
But I think he gonna change that to 3-4.
Which is a whole other changeover again.
Yeah, I think
you really think he gonna go 3-4?
I think so.
I don't know. We're gonna see. I don't think he should.
Why your big Paul's name is the rookie?
John Davis?
Carter.
Jalen Carter?
Yeah. I think he'll fall in love with them fellas and put he there, and then he'll wear two ends and he'll go.
Nah, but if you run 4-3, you keep them big boy, you keep Carter and Davis on the line.
Yeah, but he'll rotate them.
That's a big mismatch right there.
He'll rotate them in there.
If you keep Carter and you keep the inside, that's a big mismatch. You dominate on the inside.
But you're gonna see how he go, because when the offseason starts, you see him. If you see how he start sucking up linebackers, he going 3-4.
I think
what kind of linebackers?
He like he two outside linebackers.
Yeah.
Which is Sweat and Riddick. And then you got he 3 big down linemen, which could be Cox.
Jalen Carter. Then he just need to go get two.
So in other words, Jalen Carter,
John Davis.
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. You have to get another down lineman.
Right.
Probably Louis Tuputu, who we got. We might sign back Milton Williams.
And then he just go get 2 middles.
And now you're gonna need middle linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 middles and that's it. 3-4 in your cut.
Because but the thing with 3-4-2, it's gonna take a while to adjust to 3-4 because you actually lineman to do different stuff compared to a 4-3 down.
Yep.
We went through this year, and some people takes more time than others. I mean, I know he played a lot of cover 3. He later played this cover 3. But when he had Ramsey in them, he just let a man run man to man. But so he can't do that in Philly. Bradbury ain't holding nobody man to man. Not he.
I think they released him Bradbury.
Well, you
gotta release Bradbury. You can't bring him back. You can't bring back Bradbury.
You push ring
take that cap hit.
You gotta take the cap hit. What you could do it, extend him for 2 years for like $6 million each year, and then have to release him. Yeah. I think I got a $12 million cap hit. So extend it for like 2 years and release him.
Well, we'll see because, like you say, Rick Van Gio's a well-respected coach in the NFL. He's been around a long time. He's had success. He's had failure, but he's he's someone that probably could. I think, as all of us was talking about the last time, KG wanted a veteran play caller.
But aggressive though. Aggressive. I wanted aggressive defensive coordinator.
We'll see what I ain't going there and just sell out and see if Angel ain't gonna be aggressive. We'll see what
I
happens.
think Vanjo's still aggressive.
Ain't aggressive.
I don't you gonna get nobody blitzing every lane down.
No, he ain't blitzing every down. The situational blitzes.
But that's what he can do.
If he's doing the situational blitzes, will.
We're gonna we'll see how it goes with Vangio and Kellen Moore as the two new coordinators in Philly. Of course, the head coach still there, which KG don't like, but he got no
Yep.
choice at this point.
Gotta take
Gotta
it.
walk,
Gotta deal with it.
gotta walk with them for now.
Gotta eat it.
The only way you get rid of heat, you got to have to sit here and suffer another bad season next year or this year.
It ain't gonna happen because
I
it
don't
ain't
think
gonna
they're
happen
gonna
next year.
suffer a bad season.
Ain't gonna happen
That's the
next
only way
year.
you get. That's the only way you get rid of Randy. Right now.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes when it comes to Philly. Now we'll switch it over to Carolina. That news broke that Carolina has a new head coach in the building for the 2-year-old Dave Canales, formerly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator for 1 year, and he served in Seattle for 13 years. And he was named he was named head coach of the Panthers. At first, when I heard that they hired him, I did my research. The thing I was still looking at either Slowick or Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator and Callahan. I think Carolina's 4 targets were Johnson. I don't know how interested they were in Slowick. I didn't get the sense that they were so interested in Slowick, but they interviewed him. I think if Tennessee didn't scoop up Brian Callahan, because he had the in-person interview on Monday and he signed Monday night. He was supposed to fly we was flying him to Carolina for Tuesday. I think they would have made a hire for Brian Callahan on Tuesday, but they didn't get that far. Tennessee scooped him up. I think they always wanted Ben Johnson, but it was more wishful thinking than anything else because we know how Ben Johnson is and his demand. So it was more wishful. I'm glad David Tepper didn't sit around and wait on Ben Johnson. I think they probably got the memo that Ben Johnson ain't coming to Carolina. And again, with Dan Morgan as the new GM, and you just want him to be him, let him go and hire. I think this was a great hire for them. I also was looking at Raheem Morris, but I knew the plan for Carolina was always offense. They needed to help Bryce Young. And seeing what Canales did the last 2 years with Geno, when everyone had Geno washed out, he had a Pro Bowl season in Seattle. And then coming over to Tampa Bay when Brady was gone, no quarterback. They took Baker on a flyer. Baker was just supposed to be a flyer, a $4 million flyer, just to see how it is.
Quarterback.
Now he's turning big. So he's about to get 2 quarterbacks over 30 million in 1 year apart. He did it to Geno. Geno got a big, huge contract extension. And now he did it to Baker. And Baker, like I said, Baker was only there 1 year. They just was a wishful thinking. Now a couple teams want Baker to be the franchise quarterback because they saw he made the game so much easier for Baker. And he is, as if you look at it in league circles, they call him Pete Carroll Jr. He was with Pete Carroll in USC, and then he moved with Pete Carroll in Seattle. He worked quite a different number of places, wide receivers, quarterbacks, coach, pass game coordinator, and then he got his first first offensive coordinator job in Tampa Bay. But he was one of the leads in terms of doing the offensive game plan for Seattle. He was one of the leads, and then he took it with him to Tampa Bay, and we saw what Tampa Bay did. And I'm not gonna question the thing. Like I said, at first I didn't really know much until I had to do my homework on him. And the thing that you hear, or the thing that you really hear in league circles is we probably got Canales a year early, but it's better to get him a year early than a year late. Because with Ben Johnson and those guys being a hot names, people knew about Canales, but they probably wanted him another year to be the coordinator, like in Tampa Bay, and have another successful year, and then hire him. The fact that we took him a year early, let him go with Bryce Young, I can't really go against it. I know we did have Ejiro Evero in 2 interviews as well. Now we're waiting on Evero. We haven't made any defensive staff changes. The plan is that if Evero doesn't get a head coaching job, he will come back to Carolina. Carolina really wants him back, and they're paying him a raise to stay. He's okay with working with Canales as the defensive coordinator. If he doesn't get if he gets a head coaching job, we'll have to let him go. If not, I am hoping that he comes back, because if you watch the news on Carolina, you can see the teams. The theme on the defense is continuity, which is Evero and the whole defensive staff. The theme on the offensive side is alignment, connection. You remember last year the problem was our head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and offensive line coach, which was Frank Wright, James Campion, Josh McCown, Thomas Brown. They never ever worked with each other, and all 4 came from 4 different offensive systems. That's when you go big name hunting. You just went big name hunting. How you gonna bring 4 different schemes together and think you're gonna make one?
That ain't gonna work.
That's the definition of too much fish in the pot, or too much vices.
That confuses the quarterback.
Exactly. Now it looks like David Tepper was actually standing back and letting Dan Morgan and Canales do his job, because Canales just hired his right-hand man. So the guy that we were talking about today, Sheen, he had the 1 year in Tampa Bay. He came with Canales
From Seattle.
That's his right-hand man. So he was a pass game coordinator, and Isaac is the wide receiver coach. He coached up Metcalf. He did a lot of work with Metcalf and
You were quarterback coach in Seattle too at one point.
Yeah, and then he came over with him in Tampa Bay as the wide receiver coach, and they'll always tell you wherever Canales goes, he goes. So you can see the alignment there. You can see the continuity. Now he's the offensive coordinator, but he's not calling the plays. Canales will call the plays. So he's in charge of game planning and development. Right. The good thing is with that is you got one vice. Because him and Canales' vice is the same vice.
Consistency.
That's what you need in terms of Bryce Young. You don't need 4, 5, 6 vices going and everything. And the problem was you had too much people meddling in the offense, meddling all around. We fired Chris Tabor, our special team coach. It was a little shocking to me because Tabor did very well on special teams, but he was one of David Tepper's guys. Get him out of the way. Fine. We fired James Campion. So you got head coach. Why is your offensive line coach reporting back to David Tepper? They said he was the snitch. They call him the snitch.
Yes.
All kind of nonsense went down in Carolina, partner.
They
call Campion the snitcher Rooney. So they got Campion out there, and by judging with the show while we were going on, we just hired 4 new assistants. So we have, his name is Harold Goodwin. He was in Tampa Bay, but he's been around the NFL. Harold Goodwin is the assistant head coach and run game coordinator. He was there in Tampa Bay. He'll be heading over. Goodwin has a couple of Super Bowl rings from his time coaching the offensive line with the Steelers and Buccaneers. He also coached with the Bears, Colts, and Cardinals. So Harold Goodwin will be making the jump. He's another trusted guy at Canales. We also took running backs coach Bonnie Pamela. He's the running backs coach from the Jaguars. So we take him. At least he gets to work with Etienne and so he can bring it over. And wide receivers coach Rob Moore. He was the wide receivers coach for Tennessee the last 6 years. So I think he got to work with A.J. Brown. And he can put some of his wisdom on these guys. And then we also went with Tampa Bay's offensive line coach Jared Gilbert. He'll be coming over to Carolina, so you can actually see that Canales is building his staff, not Tepper's staff. Last year's staff was Tepper's staff, so I would just say, and we're just trying to get last year out of the way. We haven't made any defensive assistant or defensive news. I think they're still waiting on Evero. We got to see. His name is only up for Seattle, not in Washington. So we have to see what happens. But the goal is that Canales can walk with Bryce Young. He has a West Coast offense. The good thing that he did was he used to run a lot of motion, but that messed up Baker last year. And he cut down the motion and got the ball out of Baker's hands fast. That helped Baker. He had 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, and like 8 interceptions. So Baker had one of his best years last year under Canales. Gino had basically his best year under Canales.
I think
and Russell had one of his best year, 4 touchdowns for 6 interceptions, something like that under Canales.
4,000 yards.
Gino this year didn't look too good. He was okay, but not like the year before. So give credit where credit is due. He's young. You're gonna have some growing pains. I think Jim Caldwell is staying with the Panthers, so that will be a good mentor for him. Now it's nice to have Jim Caldwell in the building. But the good thing is that Dave Canales is getting to run his show. I think Tepper's finally standing off, and we are about to hire the Chiefs cap guru, and Brant Tilts. Brant Tilts has been with the Chiefs for quite some time. He runs the contracts and the caps, so they're actually doing it like your organization, Shane. They got Dan Morgan is the John Lynch, Shanahan and Canales, and then I can't remember the Indian fellow that runs our cap. I can't remember his name. What his name is by?
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember his name. He was right there on the sideline with John Lynch in the game.
Yeah.
Van Tilts is the one that's gonna run the cap and the contracts. Tilts is the one that made that contract for Mahomes. He's the one that orchestrated the 10-year, $450 million, which looks like a bargain now. And he did the Chris Jones and the other ones. I think he was involved with the Tyreek Hill one as well. So he'll be the one running all the analytics and numbers while Dan Morgan runs the personnel. So I think Sportsology finally told David Tepper to get the shit out of the way and leave your team do what you got to do. And if you want to win, follow winning organizations. It works for San Fran. It could work for you because Lynch and Shanahan are on the same page. Dan Morgan and Canales on the same page, and let your cap guy do what he got to do. So I'm happy for that. Like I said, he was my first option, but when you really look at it, Ben Johnson, he went nowhere. Right. I think Ben Johnson messed up Washington. I guarantee Washington was waiting on Ben Johnson. He was waiting on Ben Johnson. I don't know. He and Adam Peters had some plan, and Ben Johnson spawned him.
So I think that the out reading while you guys were talking, so now they're going after McDonald.
Yeah, but Seattle going after him too.
Yeah, but then they were going after some other names too.
I'll do that. Ben Johnson coming in the NFCs.
They're looking to go after Aaron Glenn too.
Yeah, that's a Detroit line. I'd go McDonald. I wouldn't go into Aaron Glenn. But I think that's the problem. That's the problem. When you wait for teams so late, all other candidates get swoop up.
Yep.
So now you put yourself in a. I mean, I still trust Adam. I think Adam Peters is one of the best executives in the NFL.
Yes.
But you put yourself in a tough time here, trying to get a coach that you could. I think Seattle's still gonna settle with Dan Quinn, in my opinion. I think Mike McDonald gonna go
Washington
at Washington because now that Ben Johnson not gonna win, that was Washington play. I know Seattle was high on him, but I didn't really pose them as a threat.
They got Ben-Ami. You don't think they should promote Ben-Ami head coach?
They ain't gonna promote Ben-Ami. I think Washington gonna go defense for the same reason that they'll just let Ben-Ami run the offense.
Yeah.
So they will go as a defensive head coach and just let Ben-Ami run the thing. But I know they say that I think McDonald is flying to Seattle tomorrow to have his in-person interview. They may not want him to get out of the building like Brian Callahan did with Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So Washington actually took a hit with this Ben Johnson saga because just imagine if that was the Panthers when we waiting on Ben Johnson and everybody. I don't think nobody would have hired Canal because, like I say, he's still raw. But you imagine waiting and waiting, then he spawn you again. You can Ben Johnson getting a bad name. The only thing is he does put up results, so people gonna still want him. But you can't be doing that though. You're gonna get a bad rep on the team.
especially especially them start being a winning team, going deep in the playoffs. But teams that want a coach gonna be waiting so long for him to say, "But he a customer turning on."
I think somebody, I can't remember, one of the Hall of Famers said the NFL need to just block all coaching interviews till after the Super Bowl
After the Super Bowl, right?
because it's unfair for like no a Washington and Seattle is unfair. Remember the Senior Bowl don't start.
Yeah,
You ain't got no head coach, so who you sending out there?
Mm-hmm.
Your GM, but that mean your GM and your head coach. They better hope that man on the same page. I got an update today. Canales and Dan Morgan out there scouting already. I love it. So I put my faith in it. I hope we get Evero still, but I do put my faith in Canales. I don't expect it to be just a bloom and boom because we still got work to do. The roster in defensively I could live with it. Offensively is horrendous right now. Still need Lyman. You still need wide receivers. You need wide receivers, and you don't have that first round pick. I think that number 3. I was going to tell you guys. I did some mock drafts today and yesterday. I might have to trade the third pick. It's still valuable. The Panthers need picks. You can still get a top flight receiver in this deep wide receiver class, and you need Lyman. So I can check it out some more. But I can't be vexed with the Canales.
I like the hire.
He fixed 2 reclamation projects, which is veterans, Gino and Baker.
Right.
Now he dealing with a raw Bryce Young. I ain't gonna lie. I think Bryce Young a little better than he could be a little shell shocked from this first year because he get the second most sacks in the history of the NFL next to David Carr. So you got to put a line that he could trust. That's one thing.
If he like Joe Burrow, he'll be good. If he mentally strong like Joe Burrow, he'll be good.
I do believe he mentally strong, but you could also see that he got a little happy feet sometimes because the line just never used to hold up. But I'll tell you one thing. I watched that lad McConkey fella from Georgia. Well, the Panthers need a draft. He's the next Cooper Cup. Nobody could go. Hey, he killed everybody in one-on-ones. He abused. He got the sweetest road run I ever see, and just catching the white guy. He got to be the pick on the chewer. And then if the Rams ever get heat, something wrong. Cause you got the chewer and don't run man to man with lad McConkey. He is a beast. But like I said, I'm happy with the hire. I ain't gonna go there and sit like it was my first choice. No, it wasn't. I know the Panthers wanted offense. If you look at the offensive candidates, Brian Callahan went to Tennessee before they could do anything. Ben Johnson stayed, Bobby Slow stayed. So which means we made the right decision. Still wanted. I was okay with Raheem Morris too because I know who Raheem Morris was gonna bring over. He brought over the Rams pass game coordinator to be the offensive coordinator for the Falcons. I think they're gonna help. Whichever quarterback they get, they're gonna help because they got offensive pieces. The only problem is if he performed this year, he gonna get a head coaching job somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Then Raheem Morris gotta go over. I think that's what David Tepper don't want. He want, as KG would tell you, continuity with his young quarterback and thing. So having what his name, having Canales there, which will call the plays, but he got his right hand man Isaac and a lot of familiar faces with him, as well as Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan worked with Canales in Seattle. That's continuity. Have that cohesion, and let's get things going. I'm happy for the Panthers. Good start to the offseason. Let's see. Still got to figure out some stuff. We can't get Brant Tillis until the Super Bowl because technically the Chiefs still in. But they said
who's going to be your quarterback coach?
I think he's still working on that. Right now it was Parks Frazier, but that's from the Frank Wright era. He ain't bringing a quarterback coach yet, so we got to see what's going on there. I still need to see what his quarterback coach will be. But I know Isaac is going to be a big part of the quarterback and offensive game plan. Well, Canales also works with Bryce Young, so we got to watch that and see how it goes. But I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Panthers. This is the first time in the offseason I finally saw like cohesion. I finally saw like Tepper not. If you watch the hires, they're not big names, but they all have connection with each other. That's what you need. You need coaching staff that everybody agree. You can't have a coaching staff that nobody agree. You see what D'Amico do when he brought people over that he could agree with that, agrees with him, that runs the same thing, and you go like that. You can't have how the hell you gonna bring four offensive assistants from four different schemes? What sense that make?
That can work.
Of course you're gonna change it. It's gonna change. Just having those guys as one head, I think, gonna help Bryce Young. And I do have faith that Canales will get the best out of Bryce Young. But again, you still need players. Coaching is just one thing. You still need players. Chark, you can get Chark from there. Right now, we only got Thielen. I don't think Thielen gonna stay though. I think he gonna request a trade or something because he getting old. He want to win a Super Bowl. If we can get a third round pick for Thielen, I'll be fine with that. Get him from there and get McConkley. I would take my McConkley one time. So we'll have to see there. But I ain't gonna lie. I feel excited for the Panthers. Not too excited because we know how the Panthers are doing here with this David Tepper. But it looks like David Tepper is stepping away, letting the football guys do. I think Sportsology did influence him work. I think if he's gonna build it like San Fran, I remember when Jediak was there and Jediak was I always had his nose in the NFL thing. And when they did the structure of San Fran with Shanahan there, Adam Peters was the merger between Jediak and the football stuff. Then you had your cap guy, you had John Lynch, the GM, you had Shanahan, then you had Adam Peters. So you had a buffer between the owner and Jediak took a step back and let the football guys do it. Now look what the Fatners is. If Tepper could take something from them, yeah. Get your Brand Tills. I think they paid him a whack load of money to leave Kansas City. Get Brand Tills. You got Dan Morgan, who's a no nonsense true Carolina Panther. Very good from what I've been told. He's very well in the scouting department, personnel department. He doesn't have no toys, so he can make the tough decisions and have Canales there, and they're all on one page. I can live with that. The defense kept us in a lot of games. The offense was a killer. If we can fix the offense this off season and have strides, you're gonna win a lot more games than you think because the NFC South is still a weak division. The Chiefs took a hit by losing Canales and some of their assistants. The Saints, a veteran older team. My wild card is the Falcons because they have a lot of young offensive pieces. But remember the quarterback play was, I think they say Atlanta gonna try and make a run for Russell Wilson. I ain't know about that. Or they say that they probably could go after Jaden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU. So we'll have to see what happened there. But my Panthers, all smiles. I'll see how Canales continues to fill out his staff, and I'll keep updating you guys. But I like the hire. Like I said, probably a year or two early, but it's better to have him on your team early and let him grow than to wait next year and then somebody pick him up and then you say, damn it, we should have picked him up the year before.
It's good now because your team ain't ready. Your team ain't ready to win now. Your team got probably a 2-3 year build before you actually be in full
and they gave him they gave him a 6-year contract, which means they know it's not a fast fix.
Right.
So you have to give him the time to grow. I think the West Coast offense that he runs, it's a lot of power, but a lot of zone runs. So Lyman have to be on the same page. But I do believe he can do it. If you watch Tampa Bay last year, they struggled early. But as time went on, they got more comfortable in the scheme. They started to really play a lot better. Yeah, they played a lot better. Baker didn't hold the ball. Baker's at his worst when he holds the ball too much. He holds the ball too much. So it's good that he could have fixed Baker to the point that he was very, very serviceable. Now he's going to get a big contract. And I think Bryce Young is much more talented than Baker and Geno. So his anticipation, his processing is way better. So, exactly. So let's see how it goes. And we'll just go from there with Carolina because so far so good in terms of the off-season procedures with the people that you're hiring. It's not these big name people. It's just persons that work together. So that's all I can ask for the Panthers organization right now. So any last thing on it, Giselle or Sheen?
I mean, like I said before, I like the hire. I wish that I had that type of hire as my head coach for the simple fact of the consistency will always be there with quarterback and head coach. I think that is what wins in this league. Canales had 3 quarterbacks over 1,000 yards. Russell in the MVP season, over 4,000 yards, you could say. He made Gino from being a serviceable backup to being a starter in this league too. Made Baker, who was somewhat gonna be a serviceable backup, be a starting quarterback in this league too as well. Ain't too many coaches who could do that.
Yep.
So that's a very good hire.
I think he walks to his players' strengths.
Strength, exactly.
That's something that you need to work with. So the fact that he walks to his players' strengths and maximizes the personnel that he has is a plus.
Mhm.
In terms of how he walks. So his energy is there. You see a lot of like Pete Carroll talks highly of him. See some other offensive assistants that worked with him talk highly of him. So the fact that they have that and they know how his scheme is growing. That thing is he's young, so he's gonna make mistakes. My biggest worry with him is like clock management and them. Them as young coordinators that never had to deal with that. That's a big thing. But they hire people to work on
Jim Cardwell there to help him out with that.
exactly. So you got a mentor like Cardwell there that you can lean on. You don't have to worry about the defense that much if Evero leaves because Evero
Mm.
ran the defense. You have the continuity there, so you focus up on. See, one thing I like with something one of the analysts said that when Sean McVay was hired from the Rams,
He hired
see who he
Wade
see who
Phillips.
he hired? Wade
Mhm.
Phillips. He never
Mhm.
really had to worry about the defense that much.
Yeah.
Wade Phillips was a farmer coach.
Mhm.
You let Wade Phillips deal with the defense.
Somebody who he rely on too.
Right. You were brought into the Rams to help revitalize the offense. So you got a veteran defensive coordinator, which was a former head coach. Let him do what he needed to do on defense, and you worked on the offense. If he's not had head coach, he's gotten a lot of head coach interviews, but he's a veteran in terms of his head. He has damn capers with him that mentors him. So he's there. He's stable when it comes to your defensive coordinator. I always said if we lost Evero, I would either go for Leslie Frazier. I don't think Rivera would come back just because he was the head coach. But I think I would go for
Leslie
Leslie
Frazier was a
Frazier
good
as
pick.
my defensive coordinator because that's a veteran guy that knows how to run a defense, and you keep him there. I would even have go for Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley ain't a good head coach, but he was a real good defensive coordinator
That's
when he was with the Rams. He got hired because he was a real good defensive coordinator. He wasn't a good head coach, but he was a real good defensive. You need a veteran defense. If you're very young in the thing, you need a veteran defensive coordinator. It's like Mike McDonald. If Mike McDonald gets hired by the Washington, he's a young head coach on the defensive side. You get Eric Bieniemy. He's a
Mhm.
veteran offensive coordinator. You don't have to
Coordinator.
worry about the offense. You worry about the defense. So I'm hoping that we keep Evero, but if we don't, we need to go veteran route and see how it shakes out. But I'm not sitting here sulking. I see some Panthers fans sulking and so, but not me. I ain't sulking because is what what could them still sulking on that we make the round pick with Bryce Young. Yeah, as one of those analysts that knows football said, you honestly could sit on here and tell me CJ Stroud would have had the same season he had if he was in Carolina. He'd have get
Not a
murdered
shit.
behind that
He
line.
get mother behind that
He would
line.
have get murdered behind that
Exactly.
line. He might have get injured and all. So don't come here and sit down that we make the wrong pick. Say that we failed Bryce Young. We didn't put the people there. That's the difference. So no, I'm still rocking with Bryce Young. I'm rocking with this off season because that's the team I back, and I actually like what we're doing. We're doing better stuff this year. Not no hiring for names. We are hiring for continuity and to build your staff and to become a contender. You're doing it the right way. So I'm okay with what's going on right now, and I'll live with it. I ain't got no problems with it. KG look like he ain't got no problems with it. Shane, you got anything on it?
I ain't got no problem with it. I mean, like you said, I like the hire in the trying to build up that mesh between your coach and staff and your coordinators. And Just play it out and see. You're gonna know until you see, but at least you're trying to do the right thing at this point.
Exactly. So we just gotta keep it okay with how it is. So I ain't got no problem. And our old offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, he was just hired by the Chicago Bears to be their
with the
pass game
passing game
coordinator.
coordinator.
I mean, I like Thomas Brown. He didn't get a fair shake because he got he had to inherit Frank Wright's scheme, and then when it was too late to change it when Frank Wright got fired. But I wish him the best. I ain't getting involved with it. All right. In other news, Texans keeping their quarterback coach who had multiple interviews for offensive coordinator. Like we said, they're retaining Bobby Slow. He just got a new deal, so a massive raise. The Rams is going to interview Brandon Staley for their defensive coordinator. They interviewed um, Ron Rivera. So you see, they're going to defensive coordinator veteran route. We talked about it. Ben Johnson is returning to Detroit.
Right.
The
Yep.
Steelers hire Arthur Smith as their new offensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes. We still have to see what the Commanders and Seahawks do on their thing. So we'll see what happens there. From what I'm seeing, Jets are a quarterback depth behind Rodgers. Goff wants new Lions contract, which I think he'll get. The Patriots declined Mac Jones' fifth-year option, which was expected. The Chargers hire one of the Ravens' top guns, Joe Hortiz, to be their new GM. So he goes from John Harbaugh to Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
They've been doing that.
So I think that's a very good hire. The Bronx hire former Bills offensive coordinator Ken Darcy as their new offensive coordinator. So we're gonna see what happens. The Bucks have quite a bit of interviews coming up, including Brian Johnson for their offensive coordinator
Oh, what
position.
is?
So I think that's all the news that I see here. Like I said, that thing just jumped up on my phone. The Thomas Brown one, so I have to look into that. But yeah, that's it from us. Another great show. Next week, Tuesday, it'll just strictly be Super Bowl preview and any other smaller news and notes. I think the major news for the Eagles and Panthers are already out. But next week, Tuesday is our Super Bowl preview show. We'll do a deep dive on this game and see who we pick to win. But it'll be Chiefs versus Niners next week. We'll be talking about that game. Outside of that, that's it from us.
Yep.
Like we usually say, be sure to like and subscribe our page. Keep rocking with us. Keep showing your support. And bang bang Niner gang fly, Eagles fly, and keep pounding Carolina Panthers. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 8 o'clock for our Super Bowl preview show. Anyone that wants to join can join, or if you want to send your comments to let us know your Super Bowl prediction, let us know. We'll see you at your comments. I'll put it on the Twitter. Just get our comments on who we think is going to win the Super Bowl and what's the expected score. So we'll see what happens next week. Outside of that, that's it from us. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Peace out.